back to In the Kitchen with the Dietitian. This is Jane's story. We are going to cook taco meat today. I'm going to do a segment on whole grains as I promised. Corn will be my first. And I wanted to do this ahead of time because this is a topping that we could use on some of the corn recipes that I'm going to be showing you. I have, for my taco meat, I have ground beef, lean ground beef, 96% lean and 99% lean turkey. I have about a pound of each. There's a little bit more than a pound here, but let's just say there's a pound of each. I have my taco seasoning mix. This is the lowest I've been able to find as far as sodium goes. It only has 100 milligrams per serving. There's 6 servings per packet. So there's 1,200 milligrams right here in these 2 packets. The regular ones have between 300 to 400 milligrams per serving. So if you start multiplying those out, that gets kind of high. So this is quite the savings in sodium. For my taco meat, I like to put vegetables in it because it makes the taco meat go further. Plus it gives me a chance to get some vegetable servings in there. I also want to show you that when I use liquid for the taco packet seasonings, I have some bone broth here. This was left over in my refrigerator. I was using it for something else and I wanted to use it up. So I have a cup of it right here that I'm going to use to add in. This calls for 2/3 of a cup per packet, but I made some the other night and I ended up having to drain some of the liquid off. So I'm just going to start with 1 cup of liquid and we'll go from there. If I need to add some more, I will. Now, for the vegetables. 3 cups of portobello mushrooms. I have 2 cups of onions. Sometimes I use red onions. These are yellow onions. Whatever you want to use. You could use green onions if you wanted to. I have a little over a cup of red, yellow, orange peppers. Again, use whatever color you want. If you want green, that's fine. That works too. And then I have about 2 cups of kale that I chiffonade. I rolled it up, chopped it, and then kept chopping it to get it into little pieces. All right, so I've shown you everything that we're gonna use, and we'll go over to the stove and you can watch me cook it. All right, we are at the stove now. We are gonna go ahead and make the taco meat. I have 2 enameled pans here that I'm going to use. I'm going to use them because they're kind of deep, and by the time I get all my ingredients in here, I'm going to need some space in my pan. I have my burners set at probably about medium. I've already sprayed the pan. We'll go ahead and we're going to kind of do these both at the same time. I'm going to get this in there. And then I will go grab my turkey. Throw that in there. All right, so we'll go ahead. I'm gonna hold off with the kale until last, but we'll go ahead and get the onions in here and the peppers and the mushrooms. And like I was saying earlier, you can use any vegetables that you want. This could be spinach, and it could be green peppers instead of the red and yellow peppers. It could be cabbage instead of the kale. All right. I also did want to mention, so I was telling you that I added bone broth to I'm going to add bone broth to my stuff for the liquid part of it. It could be beef broth, it could be chicken broth, it could be anything, vegetable broth. It does not have to be bone broth. I just happened to have that because I was using it for something else. Also, what I have done is I have used canned tomatoes in here. Again, you just want to watch the sodium content, make sure that it's low to no sodium added, or tomato sauce out of the can, just the plain old tomato sauce. You could use that as the liquid, or you could just pour that in there for more flavor too. I have done the tomatoes before. Okay, we're going to turn this up a little bit because this is not going fast enough. All right. So what I end up using this taco meat for is I add it to salads. I add it if I'm going to have tacos. Probably get about 12 to 15 servings out of this. These are about 4.5 ounce servings, and I'll break them up into little containers and I'll show you those containers. I label them up and then I stick them in my freezer so that I can just pull them and go. I can mix this with pasta and have like a chili mac type thing, and then you can throw on extra onions and extra vegetables. I was making grits for my corn segment. And so one night I took grits and I took my taco meat that I had and I put it on top and then put some cheese on top, and that was really good. So it's versatile. Another thing I've done with this is I've made nachos with it. So I've had tortilla chips and then I threw on some roasted vegetables and then threw this taco meat on that I'm making, and then put some shredded cheese, shredded low-fat cheese, not fat-free but reduced fat, because fat-free cheese does not melt very well. And there's still quite a bit of liquid in here. I'm not going to get rid of it. I'll just adjust the liquid that I'm going to add from the broth. I went ahead and put it in the different measuring cup because I want to show you. I'm going to pour some of this out. I'll leave it out there. I usually mix up my taco seasoning before I put it in the pan with the liquid, just to make sure I kind of get it mixed up a little bit. Okay, so this is good. I just wanted to make sure that we get that mixed up. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add the kale in here now that we're almost done, because it doesn't really need to cook that long. We just need to kind of get it soft in this skillet too. I'm going to turn my veggies off. These things work okay, but they say they're good for like up to 500 degrees or something. I don't think I would do that, but I would do it enough to do this. That's the one thing that I do not like about these cast iron pans, is they are heavy. So it's really hard to work with one arm. Okay, so I got this in. I'm just going to pour the liquid in. And then I'll give it a stir. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. And then if I decide that I don't have enough liquid in there, I can always pour a little bit more. All right, so we will go ahead and let that set and cool down, and then I will show you how I go ahead and measure it all out into cups. All right, so we are done cooking, and now we are at the scale. I have dumped everything in from my big pot onto my big scale. I weighed this. It weighs 1,510 grams total. I'm going to make 12 servings, so each one's going to weigh 125 grams. It's going to have 150 calories. There'll be about 3/4 of a cup vegetable per serving and 4 ounces of protein, give or take. One thing you want to make sure of that you do when you're doing this is that you stir it occasionally, because we don't want, if there's any liquid here, we want to make sure we kind of keep it together so that when we get to the last cup, it's not a bunch of liquid and very little meat. So we want it to be evenly distributed. All right, I'm not going to make you guys watch me do this whole thing. I will come back when I'm all done, but I just wanted to show you. I have, it's roughly, this is a 1/2 cup container and it's almost full. A couple things I want to mention is I have my labels. I've already made them out with the taco meat, the date, and how many calories. My containers, like I said, they're a 1/2 cup. I like to buy them so they're all the same, because when we go to put them in my freezer, then they can stack nicely in there and I can get an efficient use of my space in my freezer. What is kind of nice about these is the lids stack. I got them on Amazon. I think I ordered them in like a 36 pack. I am not being compensated by Amazon, but I'm telling you what, some of the shout outs I've given them, I really need to get compensated. All right, so I will come back when we're all done and I will show you my freezer and how I have things stacked in there. All right, so we're back. I have all 12 of these all ready to go in my freezer, and I'm going to show you guys what my freezer looks like. All right, so this is not a full view of my freezer. I still have some space below. You can see that. But I wanted to show you that my husband hates when I do this, that I break up even ice cream into little containers. But I wanted to show you like why I like to have them be similar in size. Alright, so we'll make sure our labels are facing forwards. You can see how they all fit in there together and how I kind of keep things organized. I have chicken that's already cooked. I have broth that I've frozen that I didn't use all the way. I've got chili in here that I made for my husband and some spaghetti and some chicken and noodles that are already ready. But I am ready for anything. I like to be prepared, and I always try to tell my patients to be prepared as well. Because when we are not prepared, that is when stuff kind of goes haywire and we kind of eat whatever we can. And sometimes that's not what is in line with what our goals are. So I will see you next time.